our sections in. This is Hayden, by the way, y'all. He's one of my longtime clients. Probably even cut you about 4 years now, 3 years?
Yeah.
3, 4 years? Maybe closer to 3.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a very even haircut to where he can go straight back with it, he can go to the side with it, he can pump it up. And you know, like we didn't get to do a lot of these cuts when we were in school. You know, there was a lot of fades. You know what kind of a walk-in business is like, you know, going to barber school. Separate this top from the sides. Basically starting right here at the corners where that hairline reaches, that front edge up. I'm taking that all the way back, almost to the center of the back of the head. That's going to help us preserve a lot of that length that we want to keep going with that flow towards the back. So this is a little bit heavier of a fade here towards the back. It's not going to be super blended all the way up through because we're going to have all that weight kind of doing that longer slick back pompadour look. I'm very clipper over comb heavy. I'm going to show y'all both shear and also clipper over comb. Typically we'll start with like just doing our shears to create our baseline and like kind of guide all the way around the head. Typically do one side and one side. You know, I'll start on this side, kind of finish it out, go to the other side, finish the other side out.
It almost doesn't matter like which haircut you're setting up. It's always just a great rule to kind of come in and section this way anyways. Like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Even if you're about to go in and do a bald fade, like it's to start off with your client. Notice his application of water. He used a ton of, you know, he applied a lot of water and tonic. But just this, you know, from the corner, you know, angle of the head, just really cutting that in and getting that angle. You know, you're gonna really want to start there. Basically, we start every haircut that way.
So from here, I'm just gonna kind of, the idea is basically creating this shape. You know, it's gonna be blended in your top kind of to this kind of angle. So what I'll do starting here, just bring that in, pulling it straight out. Typically, if you stand right in front of it and pull it straight out towards you, you're gonna have a lot cleaner of a section. Granted, he just got a haircut like 3 weeks ago, so it's not super taking off a lot. But starting a little bit closer here in the front and kind of angling our way backwards. Kind of getting a little bit more length as we move back. Y'all are welcome to ask questions too, whenever y'all need to.
Have y'all gone over to Europe to see the result?
Not yet, man. Would love to.
Yeah. They have a rep out in Fredericksburg too. Ruzel does.
What's that?
Ruzel has a rep in Fredericksburg. Like
Oh, nice.
Whatever is the company.
Yeah, we actually heard the other day that I guess some Rizzle rep knows about us out in Virginia. He like sent us a client, someone that was coming down just to visit, and told him to come see us. He was like, "Hey, go check out these guys. They're fucking cool." And we had never even talked to anybody from Rizzle before, so you can.
You know, with the sanctioning and you know, just something that's not too big.
Yeah, you can attack this pretty much any way that you really see fit. I could have came in here and done just all put it on, and knock this all out, you know, much quicker. So I can show you that on the other side if you want to see that. You know, I do still recommend sectioning it a little bit, just to kind of get some shit out of the way.
the first full week, I know, since you already here with that, that's just over there, and we got the whole side,
That's gonna,
I mean, it's just a little confusing for me.
yeah. Like I said, that's something that I have to teach myself with just watching a shit ton of videos, and you're never gonna truly learn until you get out of school. Like once you get a shot, once or something, I'll cut hair on the sides and stuff like that, and doing fades every day. But once you're like behind the chair in the shop and like you're charging big money for your cuts, it's like I remember one of my first cuts where it was like, all right, this is $35. It's not $7 anymore. I was like, I gotta do a good job, or else, my haircuts aren't worth what I'm charging.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, shears are my weakness, so.
And since you know your weakness,
Yeah.
push yourself to figure that out.
It just hasn't clicked in my head yet.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, when I was in school, like, I kind of figured that we were getting enough of, we were at a barber school on Riverside. We were getting fades all day, so we had like the fade education plan. So that's kind of why Dante and I study Boozle so much in any of their haircutting videos, because that's all they do is use shears. It's all shear cuts, it's all like sectioning. And then once you start watching these videos, you start watching how they approach stuff, you'll notice they have the same ritual, the same pattern for everything. You show up, it doesn't matter what you're going to get into. The baseline, the start is the same, section is the same, just section it out. And then that's when you start to understand your shapes or what section.
How did you practice these haircuts? Did you use mannequins a lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, mannequins and also clients. Yeah, everything that you do with your shears, with your clippers, following this angle backwards, kind of getting a little bit longer as you move back. Y'all see that all right, or are you standing in a different direction?
So with the clip over comb, you can see his guide. You can see what he's got to take off. Straight up.
So that's your guideline. That's your straight cross.
So with that, you just like kind of just pull the hair that you already cut with the new
Yeah.
hair.
So you grab a little bit of your last section and some of the new. You'll see whenever we start matching up to the set that we did before, because you'll have your short, and then your stuff in the middle.
Wait, when you started on that new side, wait, that's the new side, right?
Yeah, this is the new side.
You didn't have a guide, right?
Didn't have a guide, no.
So how did you know how much to take off?
From how much I took off the last side.
You just eyeing it.
Just eyeing it, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Because then you're gonna come through and clean it out, So, especially once you've been kind of doing it, over and over again, you know how far away you are from the head.
Right,
Simple
okay.
as that,
Yeah.
That starts to just kind of come to you a lot easier. But same concept with moving forward into doing the sides. Kind of just pulling it out, matching it to your guideline that you started here. You should have done this cut whenever we're taking off your mullet.
Yeah.
And the comb matters, right? When you're doing clip over comb.
So I like the wall combs. They're my favorite when it comes to doing clip over comb.
The wall combs are the best.
Because you can do a whole fade with just this comb, which I'll show part of that when I move into the taper. Because what's something I didn't know until I was out of school was that basically the back of this comb is one. So you put this all the way up against the head, and you cut that right there. That's a 1 guard. And then the tip of the comb, or the bottom of the comb, is like a half guard. So you can do a whole, fade with just your comb. You never have to pick up a clip or a guard.
So yeah, understanding that the bottom of that clipper comb is it's like basically a one open. Like if you were to do a fade all the way around the head and you clip over comb, and then you press the bottom of the comb against his head all the way across, and you come through with a one open, you just flick up, the fade's already in. And then you just come in, you put your ball, and you do the rest. That's slick.
But yeah, like you were saying, when you come, instead of using your shears at all, you can come do the same thing, section this stuff off. Coming through, you still see your guideline. It's already cut. That's just gonna come off.
Which one do you feel more comfortable with? Like, it don't matter.
Yeah, both at this point. Shears take longer. If you're trying to knock out a haircut in 15 minutes, flip over comb.
The shears would be like size.
Especially if you're doing fades, man, like doing a shadow fade or just getting into like doing a high ball fade. Clip over comb is one of the best tools. You get half the fade done in a single swipe instead of going through like, all right, this is my 4, this is my 3, this is my 2, and then this is my half guard. Like you cut out.
I have steps in my head, and I just feel like I have to go that way. I haven't really tried to cut corners,
And so
easier way to do it.
just because I am going to be doing some of that over directing to maintain that length, but it's going to be the same concept, just matching it. You'll see that kind of just starts to blend. Going through the finish at the top. When starting, especially since his hair's a little bit shorter, we might not see as much of a mountain. But coming through the middle, we're going to kind of finish this out. So that's that mountain I was talking about. You got your short, you're along the middle. We're going to kind of even that out. We're going to even that out all the way back. Like I said, this is a very even cut, so it's going to be blended all the way around on each side.
This is like one of those situations where he's like breaking the rules, he's like taking shortcuts, right? Like he's not sectioning out in every individual like inch by however long section to pull it up. He's just really just grabbing his comb, pulling up, grabbing it, like kind of full grabbing everything, pulling it more into the middle, kind of full grabbing. And once you definitely recommend starting off with like the detailed sections first, but once you get that down, you can start doing shit like that.
Yeah. And then moving in here towards the sides. Same thing, a little bit angled off of the side, because we're going almost like a 90 straight from his head, taking off that little bit right there. Once we go through and dry his hair too, we're going to go through and just clean it up with some texture shears. Same on that side.
Dante, y'all talk about your team and how y'all pick your team. How many barbers you got? Is it roofers, commission?
Yeah, we have 4 barbers right now. And actually, both the barbers that we have at the shop, we got from doing demos like this. One of them was at Nobel, and then one of them was at Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, one was at home.
Paul Mitchell sucks, by the way. Yeah, I hated Paul Mitchell.
Straight up?
Hated Paul Mitchell. But I mean, I think it was the students most so. Nobody cared. You know, nobody. The only person that really cared was the one that we ended up hiring. You know, they were just, I don't know, what's her name wasn't there? Chrissy? She wasn't there. So I think it would have been different if she was there.
She called me. She lives across the street.
Yeah, I think it was just, the vibe just wasn't right.
But yeah,
Didn't,
so
didn't feel like it had much structure.
we've got 6 chairs total at the shop. We've got 4 filled right now, so we're still looking for 2 barbers coming up pretty soon down the line. We basically function like a tattoo shop, so we are absolutely a unit. We're a team for sure. And like Dante was talking about, we don't have like shop prices. We all do have our own prices, but we do want it to be within the same range for sure, because we don't want it to be too big of a gap. But yeah, we let everyone run as an independent, so it is different.
So you're welcome to charge for everybody.
Yeah, we don't do commission at all. We sell product all day. Like that's huge in our shop. I mean, like we're just moving through product. So for us,
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
I just said we're moving through product.
And you sell a lot of products.
Sell a lot of product. And that just comes from us, like, you know, we style everybody with product basically, and even clients that. Well, Russo has a good selection of products that are products that don't come off as products, like tonics or anything else. So we still, even clients that don't want like pomade in their hair, we still use a lot of products on every specific client. But yeah, that's basically the way we want to operate, man. Just, you know, booth rent, you pay rent every week, and then you know, you get a cut off of you know, Russo or any product sales.
Yeah.
And then also this is going to help us kind of clean up the top and the sides of what we're doing. This is just a little bit of hair tonic. It's got a little bit of oil in it, so it acts as a heat protectant and also has a styling factor to it as well. So it's going to help us kind of style him out to where we get that pompadour and or slick back, whichever really one he wants to go with. So with doing this kind of cut and styling, it's mostly going straight back. Now, I'll show you a little bit of techniques to kind of get some volume, but the majority of it is going to be just kind of following it straight back with the cut that we did. Usually brush the whole time. I don't know if I get so hot for that. That's my beginning. Just really dry first. Like I said, we're still going to clean up, you know, the sides and what we did. Just make sure it's all blended. Don't have any high spots or low spots. when it comes to kind of starting the pompadour style, I like to kind of start from the back, just so everything has more volume going backwards. So what I'm doing here is just going in, curling back out. Now I have a hole in his hair. That's where that vent comb or vent brush really has a lot of help because you can get it all the way through the hair. To make this process easier, you can use a Denman brush. Have y'all heard of Denman brushes? Those are great, especially when you're kind of learning, you know, this blow drying technique. It makes it super easy to grab the hair. But I'm just kind of slowly moving forward, taking it up, back. What I do, so?
We still have two. 250 a week.
225.
225 a week. Just on the north side, just like 20 minutes from Round Rock. So, yeah, 20 minutes from Round Rock. Maybe like 10 minutes from the square. So good location, man. What's that? Yeah, just from the ground up, man. I mean, being in school 6 years ago, and you know, just following the family business, dude. Yeah, it's epic, man. We have like 17 stylists on the Costco side and 4 barbers, man. So, we got a lot of shit. Yeah, we're in the same building.
We're right next door.
You guys, you said when you started, you said when you opened your brick and mortar, did you do like a mobile?
Well, it was tight, man. It was really tough. I graduated school during COVID, so it was terrible, man. So yeah, we used that time to kind of put together a little shop. So we were out of, we couldn't cut hair for a really long time, so it gave us a little bit of time to build the shop. Yeah, we were in a little 2-man barber suite back in the salon for about 3 years, and then we finally opened up the actual shop. Oh, what's up, man?
What's up, bro?
Honestly, just being during COVID, like that was the toughest part. Yeah, it was strange, man. I graduated school. I had like 30 hours left of school before the whole world shut down, and I had to do everything online or whatever. And then so I took my practical during all that stuff too, and it was really tough. But yeah, I mean, for me and Dante, being fresh out of barber school, that was a tough start, dude. Not really having the capability to build clientele. So it was a lot of just like planning, you know, and foreshadowing, but we were already doing in school. So, but I mean, you know, aside from like that, I would say just hands-on. I mean, the biggest struggle is like still like even though these are applied product, like those things really stick with you. You know, and if you're doing that while you're at school, you'll
They slicked up kind of pompadour like we're probably going to end up doing a little bit later. You can kind of get these guys with this like just that natural kind of flow back kind of look. Just by adding a little bit of that hair tonic, you know, this stuff's going to stay. It's going to hold for a good part of the day. You can even use something really light, like if they want more of a clay or something like that. But you can kind of see kind of most of that work that we did is going to kind of be done for the most part. We're going to go through, take out a little bit of weight, add a little bit more blending towards everything on some of the spots that are a little heavy. But for the most part, you know, you can end up lining this guy up and being like, hey, dude, looking good, you know? So after that, it's mostly just cleanup. You know, a lot of people, especially when I started in school, I got so focused on one spot, especially doing fades, instead of just moving along with the haircut. You know, if you don't get a spot perfect on your fade, go to the other side. Start doing that. Come back to it with a fresh eye. Because if you just nitpick and focus on one spot, you're gonna end up messing up your whole cut. You're gonna take it too high, stuff like that. So. I'm just going to do textures over my comb. Blend that out just a little bit more. I'm not going in and chopping them all the way at his base. Just kind of hitting the tips. We still have to do the fade.
You always do the cut in this order that you're doing it right now?
Typically. Blow drying is going to help y'all see a little bit better. Especially when you're getting started out. Doing this kind of cut, I would recommend blow drying it after you do most of the cut. In some scenarios, I might have started with the fade and just got that out of the way and then moved into all the shear work. But it's kind of all just depends on what you're comfortable with. You know, this makes it a little bit easier to show y'all, so y'all can kind of see what I'm doing.
Does the wet versus dry matter?
It depends, you know, especially on the hair. Some hair you need to cut it dry. You know, some hair works fine doing wet. He's got really nice hair, so it can kind of go either which direction. You know, a lot of people don't like to use their clippers and doing clipper over comb when it's wet. I don't give a shit. I like doing it because I get my sections a lot cleaner, a lot crisper. But mostly even with this, I'll kind of come back through, check my sectioning, and hit it with clipper over comb one more time. Just to make sure I'm pretty much even in those spots. I like to do a lot of razor work too. Like using the feather razors to kind of get some extra weight out and add some like feathering to it. I don't do that on every haircut, but you can see this stuff is already getting a lot smoother. You know, just like with him, you can see where his calyx at. Where this stuff kind of likes to pop up. instead of being scared about that and being like, you know, I fucked up his haircut, just to understand that his calories going to be there regardless of how you cut it or not. So because he likes to do this whole flow back, he understands that, and he just uses product to counteract it. So instead of him being pissed about his cow look all the time, he just embraces it. He just wears it. So if y'all were noticing, that's why this side is just kind of laying down a little smoother, and this side's just a little bit more.
They just kind of like to touch on what I was saying earlier, like just don't say no to any haircut. Like just say yes to every haircut. Like you're not gonna like if it's something that, because I mean you don't know if you're good at it until you really get into it. And you might be killer at it. You might be really good at doing long haircuts, but like you had no idea. But like once you find that, then you'd be making a lot more money, be way more versatile. But I think just like, yeah, don't say no to any haircut, man. Anything that, walks in the shop, take the challenge, man.
And I would say, put your shoes on and just grind. Like it's gonna be long hours. I just gotta make sure. Be the first one there, be the last one leave if you can. If you got kids, I understand. But if you don't have no kids, if you ain't got no girl,
I can agree to definitely a lot of that. When I first started, I started into a salon that didn't have a sign outside that said barber. It didn't, like the clientele that was coming in was a bunch of old ladies from Sun City, a bunch of moms, and I was taking everything that I could. So I started out doing a lot of women's hair. Did I have very many returning women clients? Not really. Not a whole lot. But, my first year I worked a second job because I wasn't making no money. And I had to pass out cards every day. I had my other job where I was serving tables. Every table that came in, passed a card. And I built a big clientele from that to where after about a year, I quit my second job. I was able to pay my bills and also live a decent life. So now it's 5 years later and I'm still growing, like unless you're going to a shop that's really, got a big clientele, big walk-in base where you can just get in there and start making money immediately. That's the route that you can take. Mine, I kind of had to build my clientele myself. It wasn't just handed to me. Now that we have this barbershop and a sign out front, we're getting walk-ins, the new barbers that we're hiring, they're already getting started cutting hair, so they have it way different than when I started in the same location. There's just a little bit more of a struggle getting started. But, I could have gotten upset and been mad and, decided I wanted to go somewhere else or wanted to not be a barber anymore, but I showed up at work early and sat there for 8 hours and didn't get a single cut. And that's how little men haircuts were coming to that shop.
That's how it feels here sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't get a cut every day.
No. And then barber school, you're not really gonna get a cut every day. I mean, it's we had guys that we were going to school with that had already been cutting 10, 13 years before they started, so they had a clientele. And so they were making money behind the chair. They were charging, give me a $40 tip, type thing. And I was lucky if I got $2 on my tip from clients. I just didn't have clientele.
Trust me, I know how that feels.
But kind of going into starting this fade, that's just a no guard open and kind of flicking it out into that top. And then I'm going to hit it with a little bit of cook over comb to kind of get the rest of that face started. So like I said, bottom is your 1, top is your half guard or 0, whatever you like to call it. So I'm going to move into that, straight across,
Press directly up on the head.
Yep.
The bottom of his comb is directly on the scalp.
So we're crack creating that shelf right across that, a little bit heavy weight line, but we're going to be blending all that out anyways. So like we said, this is going to be your one. So I'm going to open up just a one guard, barely cutting anything. Just kind of cleaning that up, down. You know, some of y'all that are, you know, fade focus, you know, probably can fade me under the fucking chair, you know, but I don't really give a shit about that. It's fine with me. You know, I have a long list of clients that love my haircuts and like my fades for what they are. And if any of my clients have ever left me, you know, because they didn't like my fade, I'm 100% fine with seeing them walk out the door, you know. 'Cause that's, I want my people in my chair to appreciate me for who I am, you know, at the same time. So
Idea. But we don't really put any kind of time constraints. Working, we basically, like I kind of said before, we don't have a receptionist, you know, so it is just the four of us. So, you know, Dante and I are the owners. So we really kind of pick up that like manager side of things. But I mean, I guess we both kind of operate as the receptionist in a way.
So it's kind of like if you're in the chair, you're solely
Absolutely. For sure. But I mean, if you're in the shop and then they're, you know, walking comes in, that's kind of the setup that we have. It's really just kind of, you know, it's not too dialed in. It's not too strict or down. Like it's, you know, the walking comes in if you want to take it. Typically, that's like the way we style it out. Like, you know, the barbers that we had come in, you know, they're kind of making themselves available for walking, since they're a little bit less, not as much of a clientele. And so that's been our only experience, is hiring people that are straight from barber school. So it does actually take people from barber school a lot longer to do haircuts. Which we're fine with, you know, but we don't have any strict rules based on like how much rent. Yeah, like, and it you know, it doesn't affect anything monetary. You know, like we don't let timing affect much. I mean, it would, you know, we'd rather you not spend 2 hours on a haircut, I guess. But we did have a barber that would spend 3 hours on like fades, but and it wasn't because he was confused. He doesn't work for us anymore, but yeah, he was a strange guy. He would just kind of like keep clients in the chair for a long time.
I think in his issue he was making things harder for himself. You know, he would go in, do a whole like 3-to-1 fade, and then go in and put a bald line in, and all of a sudden fade all that out. Like it was just, he would take everything he just did, spending 45 minutes on,
We would do a bunch of stuff.
and then cut it out with
a lot of work.
trimmers and started in with fade. So it was like,
Yeah, and then do the 2 guard on anyway. Come in and do work and then do something else.
his plan of attack was really odd. The thing is, I've seen him, I saw him do, you know, haircuts in 30-40 minutes. But we also found out he was like overcharging elderly people like $100 for a haircut.
Yeah, that's kind of zero tolerance for us. Yeah, it was a bad situation. He was taking advantage of old people, charging like $100 a haircut and stuff. So we shut that shit down. Well, actually, he screwed us over. He didn't show up. He just stopped showing up. He's now an educator at Brazil Barber School, so we don't mind putting him on blast. So
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing the clip over comb in the back as the base of the one open saved him a lot of time. And yeah, for me, man, just that clip over comb trick. And it, you know, leading into the bottom of a one open, that was like the light switch for me. Like whenever you're just like, I don't know if I'll be able to do this shit. But that was like the one trick, or like what I learned that just like it just all made sense all of a sudden. And I was just cranking out haircuts.
Yeah, that was something I figured out just on my own too. I just figured that out.
Do you shampoo and cut in the 30 minutes?
Typically not, you know, it's surprising not a lot of men want their hair shampooed. The ones that do, you know, it takes an extra, 5 minutes, not even. And a lot of them typically just want their hair rinsed out. But yeah, I mean, I can knock out a shampoo and cut in 30 minutes. There's certain clients that I know that want one every time, and so I kind of just plan for it. Because there's a lot of these cuts that, I'm done with the majority of the haircut within about 20 minutes. And then the rest of that is just kind of detailing it, kind of cleaning it up. But, like I said, a lot of some of our clientele, we're right down the street from Sun City, the biggest elderly home center in literally the world, or not world, United States, right? I think it's the biggest, right?
I'll tell you, make sure you gotta take pictures of it before I finish. That's what's going on. It's a nice tape you got in the back of your mind.
All right, thank you, sir.
And that skateboard, a mannequin, that's the tape we want to see. Strong lines, arches around the ear, no line in the back. And like a number one massage. That's the exact haircut right there.
Man, Coach, I had to hit Hobby with this is what we do not too long ago.
You hit it with it.
Pedro.
Straight up.
Straight up.
And I don't make excuses. Young man, how are you? All right.
So he likes a little bit lower tapers and sideburns. So I'm going to kind of go in and flip those out as well. Same technique. A little bit of clip over comb, and you can see where it starts that blend out right there at the top. Coach tell y'all to always keep a comb in the hand?
Yeah.
So in our shop, we try not to use a guard over a tube.
Yeah, anytime I don't have a comb in my hand, I feel like I'm dumb. I don't know what I'm doing. about to do it. It's no right.
What's your philosophy on that?
What's
You're
that?
Earning more for a higher end haircut, like your guard philosophy, not using over a two.
Not using over a 2 is basically I think it's a more efficient and you get a better haircut if you can learn how to use clip over comb. Because not everybody's head's the same, and a guard is too definitive. It's too clip over comb is much more like free form. You know, like no one's head shape is the same. So why are you using the same guard on everybody? Like, over a 2, right? Like out of the fade range. I think not using over a 2 is it's going to be a better, more customizable fit for the client.
I think my biggest card I hate using is a 1.5. I hate 1.5. I feel like they're a waste of time. When you're using walls, you almost have to use a 1.5. I don't know what it is about like the way walls cut. Like that wall 1.5 is made. It has purpose, but these have become slowly my new favorite clippers right now. The JRLs, they make doing fades just so much smoother and faster.
Brock, how many days have you been working out?
We're doing about 5 days a week. We do like Tuesday through Saturdays. It's kind of our. Yeah, we usually are closed Sunday and
What's
Monday.
your price ranges for haircuts?
Price range, kind of like I was telling everybody, we kind of function like a tattoo shop. So we are very much like a unit, a team, but we're all very like independent still. So we're all right around $40. So we're pretty much a strict 40 for haircuts, 45 for bald fade, and then we do combos right like 50, 55. If it's just haircut, beard trim, haircut, bald fade, beard trim, 55.
Razor fades are now 60.
Razor fades are 60.
What's a razor fade?
With a skid fade with a razor on the side.
Right?
60.
60.
And I noticed y'all mostly charge higher for fades than you do for regular haircut.
Mm-hmm.
What's the price?
Well, I mean, we were doing the same price for a haircut that takes sometimes twice as long. When kind of going into extra detail to do, a fade and get a really clean fade on there. So,
we'll be sitting there with the client especially for the bald fade, could be an extra 5 to 10 minutes. And, when we're running the shop and when you're behind the chair, like, you have so much going on all at once. You're trying to focus on your haircut. You can't get the fucking line out. You're sitting there just trying to fade. The phone's ringing. Like client, you have somebody waiting. You're behind already. Like you have to like utilize all the tools you have in front of you. To make it smooth. You have a smooth from start to finish. Like you can do as many haircuts as possible. You just have to whatever will save you time. You just got to capitalize on because all those small pockets of time will add up in the end.
Do you operate right now mostly on walk-in traffic or appointments?
Both. I mean,
Good blend.
Yeah, we prefer appointments just because we're all busy. We don't want people having to wait a couple hours just to get in. So just to help save the client's time, we prefer appointments so they're not showing up and then waiting. But we get a good amount of clientele with just walk-ins. We got the game exchange right next door, which is nice. There's always people coming in and out of that store all day. And then a couple places to eat right down the street or in our same shopping center.
Did y'all talk about collaboration with beer?
Oh yeah, so just with us being like a local shop, man, we've got some of our buds that run a brewery in Georgetown, Texas called Barking Armadillo. They're actually really popular. You can buy it in HEB and shit. But we collabed with them. They actually came out with a beer for us called Clean Cut Lager. So you can actually find it in most HEBs, I believe.
I think they only have a deal with the HEB off of 35 right now.
Gotcha. But yeah, we just, that's kind of like what we've done with our barbershop, man. It's like a huge sense of community. Like when we were building our brick and mortar, we, a lot of it didn't all work out in the end, but a lot of the people that were helping us build the shop were clients. And then, these guys at Barking Armadillo keep us stocked on the beer basically all year, man. So we've got a cool little collaboration with them that we've got going. And yeah, it kind of like sparks a little community. We do haircuts at their brewery all the time, like post up on the patio. And we just did like a big beer release party. And So, you know, Dante and I try to stay pretty active in the community, doing pop-ups and events, and you know, we've got a lot of friends that open up restaurants downtown Georgetown, and you know, we try to stay active, man. We try not to like. I mean, but like, you know, we don't really have a huge social media presence either, man. I don't know, we kind of like operate a little old school, man. We're a lot of word of mouth, you know, just a lot of referrals, man. A lot of, you know, we just don't. I never got us into TikTok. I don't really want that kind of clientele.
I tried. I took one TikTok and
I personally just don't really want that kind of clientele, to be honest with you.
I mean, it sucks because it is a great way to get popular, you know, right? One video can blow you up. We just created our own shop Instagram. We were operating under the salon and barbershop. Now we have two separate ones, you know, so one's just all barber stuff. But it's still really fresh, you know, there's like 4 posts on it. You know, I've definitely gotten some clientele from Instagram, but I wouldn't say that's the main focus. You know, it's a lot of word of mouth. Our sister, she gets a lot of clientele from doing her TikToks, actually. She's got quite a few people that come to see her just because they saw her on the page.
God, it's 11:47. Our potluck started at 12:30. Those who have not got an item for the potluck, you got 30 minutes to go get some. The list is on the refrigerator. If you need an idea of what to go get, just pick something, go get it, run the TV or wherever you got to go do it, and figure it out.
What kind of potluck y'all having? Was it for Easter?
Yes.
It's like March Madness.
Oh, March
Or,
Madness,
like,
something like that.
Where did y'all get that cake from?
That's actually
It's a high top.
a company, yeah, High Top.
Yeah, I really like their stuff. Yeah. Only thing is they're expensive as hell.
Yeah.
Like 35 bucks a cake. It's crazy.
Anything that looks cool is always so expensive.
Yeah, I was on their site one time and I was like, I had like 4 or 5 in my cart and I didn't realize how much they were. It was like, you know, $150. I was like, oh, never mind. I was like, I'll buy these another time.
So another big thing we do, we actually do for a barbershop quite a bit of color. So
Yeah, that's a big one if y'all want to get into, you know, really making a little bit of money. Great coverage. So many dudes are, you know, hate that they're going gray. And it's really simple. You know, you just gotta apply it to the whole head.
You'll do any like men's highlighting or?
Yeah, I have a couple clients that do highlights and then also like full like color. Like I have one that is like a red strip, you know, all across his head. But I'd say majority of it is like color, like great coverage.
Do you supply all the supplies, or is that up to the barber to have their own fitteds or bleaches?
So we have had clients bring like their own color before. I prefer to use my own. Every barber, you know, supplies their own stuff and products. Like we have a back bar that's just kind of like a collection of different products that everybody has access to and use. But if you want anything special in the barbershop? Yeah, in the barbershop. So if you want anything special, that's what you want at your station versus at yourself.
You guys supply beer, like, you know, cool care, blade wash, sandwich strips.
That's typically on the barber.
It's still on the barber, yeah.
I supply sandwich strips because I buy a box and everyone can use them. You know, I'm not like a stickler that way.
Yeah. You guys are, you said 225 or 225? It's up to like 450.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's a, you know, we got a good spot, dude. I think our rent's pretty fair, man. For sure.
You gonna put some product in here, anybody?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's wild what they charge in Austin now.
Yeah. I paid 400 for my first care for a year.
Really? What the fuck?
Yeah, I know those Georgetown prices are getting at that set.
And I mean, 30 years ago, I think when my mom, started her salon, I think it was like $70 a month or something like that. Something crazy.
What?
Yeah, but that was 30 years ago.
Yeah, with 30.
But
They said 3.
y'all can see how nice all this stuff's gonna want to blend in. Especially once we get into styling it. He has another little cowlick right here where his hair likes to wave off to the side. Are you good with going grease, or do you want to just do red?
Man, whatever you want to show.
I'm gonna do a little bit of a mix, kind of cocktail stuff. He likes to use the Rizzo grease. It's one of my favorites, what I'm wearing today. But I'm gonna use a little bit of the red, a little bit of grease. I kind of typically like to mix it when I do my own hair. You still kind of get that grease style. It'll still kind of wash out a little bit easier, but grease is going to kind of stay, So if you are going to use some kind of grease on your haircuts, make sure they're okay with it, because grease is not for everybody.
Do you use a clarifying shampoo? Do you use an alcohol?
Yeah, Rizzo has their own product that they use, shampoo that they sell. It's like their scrub shampoo. It works. Yeah, it's got little beads in
Do
it.
you ever get those? Do you ever get those like trapped and caught?
They get stuck in my hair for sure. I mean, anytime I shower, it's like that's the longest part, trying to get those beads out. But even using that stuff, it takes 2 to 3 shampoos. It's still in there pretty heavy.
So if you grease, you leave it in your hair for a certain amount of days then?
Yeah, a couple days. Grease actually works a little better the longer it stays in your hair. It starts really kind of like, your hair starts forming to the grease. So typically, I'll get like a whole t-shirt and put it on my pillowcases, basically, because it will smear on all your pillowcases.
Rizzo still uses actual lard, right?
I think it's a mixture of some kind of polymer or something. Because Rizzo means pig fat.
Oh, that's why they're hitting on all their stuff.
Yeah, that's what it stands for. But it's not made with like actual fat, I don't think. It might have been.
Like that dude's a vegan for sure.
Yeah, so it's probably.
Like Butcher's a vegan.
Yeah.
What about grease on finer hair? That's not a good idea, right? Or
I mean, he has kind of medium to fine hair.
Oh, okay.
It really depends on the person. I don't have a whole lot of clients that really love grease. I try to make a bunch of grease heads. Not everybody has to do it, so. Because it's definitely not something you kind of just put, on the top of the style. It's something you get all with in your hair.
How often do you shampoo?
Every other day to every 2 days.
Okay.
if I'm using grease, you know, like shampoo is probably like every few days because I know I'm not gonna get all of it out.
Yeah.
But I will rinse it.
Yeah. Just straight away.
Big over there. Good to see you, man. Did you bring half ATV with you? Hey, man, I want some seaside shit. You can bring it out with you? You brought sushi? I see you, Dante. What you do?
What I do, coach?
What kind of rock you do?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So you'll see he's using the pick. Wonderful styling tool.
It's beautiful.
Have y'all heard of Joy's Birth Barbershop yet? For y'all that like Rizzle? Y'all should check out Joy's Birth. They're out of Greece. Those
Yeah,
guys,
you need to check out Joy's Birth.
Joey's bird.
Joy's Birth.
those guys are sick.
Other than Ruzel, those guys are some of the most phenomenal barbers we've ever seen.
Where are they at?
They're out of Athens, Greece.
Oh,
They,
Joey's bird.
yeah, they're probably not as mainstream popular as Ruzel, but they're just as clean. Dude. I mean,
If not, they're I think they're a lot more.
Do they track back?
Yeah, they're
Like,
polished up. Like Ruzel's a little more cowboy. Like these guys are like dialed in, dude. Like
They're heavy section
polished
oriented. Like they section everything off. But those guys are insane. Their fades are always so clean and like, but also like they have a totally different demographic of clientele out there. You know, they're still, even with Ruzel, they're still kind of stuck in that old school, you know, rockabilly, pompadour vibe, and it's just not taking off here. You know, Europe's usually a few years behind us when it comes to styles.
Don't forget the rest of the week, get to wear athletic gear, jerseys, and all that. I'm gonna take pictures every day. They remind me bring their athletic stuff. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, real classic, old school. That's where the pick is like one of the best, because you can kind of
Take a picture for me, Grace, all right?
grab pieces, pop that stuff up.
I told him that you guys talk about Rockabilly. I didn't know what Rockabilly was. the name, I just know street cat, I know what it was.
Right.
They I know
I
that.
mean, for you, the Stray Cats, you didn't remember that?
You know your driver was me. The 80s from AWA.
Oh, I mean, they were all on MTV together.
Yeah. Over there.